Hey guys, this is Tom Hanks. Welcome to another stream. Today we are doing the Automation Community Challenge. This is of course going to be the 2005 Makeshift School Bus Challenge that I announced last Sunday. And overall we have 9 valid entries this time. The Devil Trailer Blazer Extreme is actually a fairly nice car. It scores 417.4 overall. However, unfortunately I have to disqualify it because it is on sports tires and that's not allowed. So before we get into the valid entries, I'm gonna show you my car real quick, though keep in mind this is not very much effort has gone into this. So this has a 7.5 liter naturally aspirated V12. It's making 450 horsepower. Hey Traffic, how's it going? It's making 450 horsepower. Bunch of torque, obviously, with a 7.5 liter V12. And this has an overall score of 411.4. Again, could be a lot higher with more optimization. But, you know, I really didn't put much time into this. Okay, let's start with our first valid entry. That's the WMBP by Wall. It scores 376.6. It's got a 2.4 liter inline-6 engine with 165 horsepower. And it meets all the rules. It's actually fairly cheap too, 26,360. Anyway, I'm not gonna spend that much time in automation here. I've already calculated all the results for the final scores of the cars. Next up is the Durant Montrose. That is by Sebasek. It scores 437.9, which is very, very good. 255 horsepower from a 3.5 liter naturally aspirated, a V6, and 20.4 mpg, $29,910. Next up is going to be the HOS Ventura. That is by Hugo Oyon. It scores 377.2. It's got a 3.5 liter twin turbo V6. Yeah, that was the one with the twin turbo 3.5 liter. 260 horsepower, 1910 kilogram, makes it one of the lighter cars in the challenge. $29,278. Hey, MixZ233, unfortunately your car had to get disqualified, as I said earlier. Yeah, because it's on sports tires. Next up, the LeBelge A502 by Brisket. This actually looks really good. I want to point out, I like the way he did this. Looks like the sort of digital writings on, you know, the bus line and where it's going. That's I like the way I like that detail. Looks really good. 3.4 liter turbo inline-5, 188 horsepower, 29,600. Actually got a pretty poor fuel economy. Hey Colonel Sanders, how's it going? I'm just taking a quick look at all of the cars in automation here. I've already pre-calculated all of the scores. This one, by the way, the HOS Venture, no, that was the LeBelge, that, if I didn't mention it, it scores 374.3. The Logoris Rover scores 370.3. It's got a 320 horsepower, 8.3 liter V8. Unfortunately, the styling is very basic and very Range Rover-esque. No wipers, no antennas, no door handles, no indicators. No number plates even. Yeah, very low effort car apparently. Happening right, brisket bus is passing. How's it going, Colonel Sanders? Anyway, this scores 370.3. Meets all the rules. Yeah, but I'm not expecting too much of this, unfortunately. The Mastin by Traffic 125 scores 388.4. It's got a 2.5 liter turbo straight 6 with a very nice torque curve. 240 horsepower, 1750 kilograms is, I think, the lightest car in the challenge. And I'm sure it's gonna drive extremely well, just like Traffic's cars in the other community challenges. But that's, you know, it doesn't score that well here. Next up, the Timberman, which is actually your car, Colonel Sanders. Your car scores 451.7, which is really, really good. It's got a 5 liter twin turbo V8, nearly making 400 horsepower. It makes 24.1 mpg, costs 30 grand on the dot. It's got very high torque. It looks cool. Really can't say too much negative about this, honestly. Looks like a sort of Dakar, sort of SUV, racing SUV almost. I decided to go with college, then procrastination took over. Hey, Scrounces, how's it going? Next up, the TOF by Mr. Adi makes a 414.1 overall score. A 3.5 liter turbo, twin turbocharged V6, 161.8 horsepower. It's about the lowest we've seen, I think. Yeah, very low power and even torque numbers, considering it's a 3.5 liter turbo. And that's because we have very little boost. Did the LeBelch already go by? The LeBelch already went by. Your score was 374.3. And I do like the look of it. And I definitely appreciate the details you put on there with the writing of that kind of looks like the bus line and where its destination. That's a very nice detail. Well done with that. Hey Sebasek, how's it going? And this car, by the way, is by Mr. Adi. It's fine. It's nothing to really complain about apart from the maybe kind of low power output. And last but not least, here for automation with the Turbo Ozark, which is by Donutsnail. It has the highest score of 454.5, which is a little bit higher than the one on the Timberman, 451.7. This has a 7.4 liter twin turbo V12, making 383 horsepower and tons of torque. Like really not that much for a 7.4 liter turbo, but again very low boost for higher economy. It costs just a little under $30,000, makes 19.7 mpg. It has the highest score by a little bit of all the cars, so it is definitely in the lead right now, but it nearly weighs 3,000 kilograms. So now we're gonna head over to Beam and see how all of these cars are gonna drive. And then I'm gonna determine a winner. Hey Colonel Vapors, how's it going? I've already exported all of the cars to Beam before I started the stream, so I'm gonna be headed to Beam in just a second. Oh, come on, let me have the game in full screen, thank you. Now I'm gonna switch over. So I'm going to drive these cars on the west coast, particularly in the Redwood Forest. What happened to my car file? It's on mediums right now. The devil in automation. I don't know what's going. I don't know what happened, but thank you for following the channel, Colonel Vapors. I appreciate it. But anyway, yeah. The car that I imported was actually on sports tires. Where's the chicken? I don't know. Whenever I hear something like that, I gotta think of that one scene in Game of Thrones where with the Hound and Arya Stark in the sort of tavern, and if you know Game of Thrones, you know which scene I'm talking about. I'm gonna have to eat every fucking chicken in this room. Anyway. With all these colonels, we need colonel failure. Kind of, yeah. I mean, if I was... If I was in the military, my name would probably be a major, inconvenience or a major disappointment or something like that. Major inconvenience is probably a little bit more fitting. Captain Obvious. Yeah, this car, by the way, is my own car, not very optimized, and it understeers like hell. But also the 7.5 liter V12 pulls pretty hard. No, what we need is an army. Yeah, this is not very well optimized, as you can see. I hope you guys' cars are better. So, what's the first one that we have? The Durant Monroe's Premium All-Wheel Drive. People made SUVs and I made a bus. You're actually not the only one that made a bus. Other cars or other players have made vans as well. Well, a van isn't exactly the same as a bus, of course, but it's the next closest thing. This field slider, I don't know if it actually is, like, mathematically, but it feels a little bit more agile. It's pretty slow, though. Then again, so is a school bus, at least your average school bus. Oh, we do actually have an advanced automatic here. Yeah, here this could really use some extra power. We were doing over 100 kilometers an hour by the end of this with my own car, so... I mean, then again, my own car, I think it's more powerful than any car in the competition. It's 450 horsepower. I don't think we've seen that much from any other car. Yeah, this definitely handles these bombs better. Stops decently well too, even downhill there. Well, that's okay. I mean, it's not bad. It's very drivable indeed, as it needs to be as a school bus. This feels very lively and agile. This is the HOS Ventura. It's faster too. Well, the challenge is effectively, well, your bus broke, and you need a car that can fill the role at least for a day or two until your bus is fixed. That's the general premise. And the brakes on this don't feel that good, though. Maybe the brake balance is just off, but they didn't feel that good. Feels very stiff, actually. Yeah, this does not feel optimized for comfort. It feels sporty, but I have to account for the fact that this is not a sports car. It's not supposed to be a sports car anyway. Let's drive to La Belge. No traction control, huh? This actually has pretty good initial turn in. Then it starts understeering a little bit, but not very much. It's still okay. The power is okay, not overwhelming. But the short and tight gearing definitely helps a little bit. Okay, here uphill it's struggling quite a bit, but again, for just bringing the kids to school, it's not gonna be a problem. Let's see how this does. Just a little over 100 kilometers an hour, like on every other car. Feels a little bit stiff as well. Okay, that was smoother. Brakes are good. Overall, solid bus, but nothing that really you know, blows my mind. Next up, the Logoris Rover, which was a pretty low effort car, at least as far as the aesthetics of the design go. It was also the lowest score in automation. Let's lock all the diffs. Feels quick though. Despite the fact that this only makes 320 horsepower. Sounds good too. Turns in nicely. Feels quick. Like, honestly, considering this only makes 320 horsepower. Well, I shouldn't say only, because this is about one of the more powerful cars in the challenge, so... But yeah, with the diffs locked, it likes skidding around. But yeah, nothing better than a good old V8 up the hill here. This soaked up the bumps better than the cars before. It's very nose heavy though. Brakes are good. Drives decently well, but the score in automation is too low. And just overall the design is very unfinished. Next up, the Mastin Sailab. This went through that corner about 20 kilometers an hour faster than any other car. But what do we expect? It's by Travik. He always builds by far the best handling cars. Like, if this was a performance school bus challenge, this would probably be up there. This would probably, in fact, be the winner by a country mile, at least so far. But it isn't about the performance this time. Performance school bus. Yeah. Let's see how this does here. Very bouncy, very stiff. Yeah, not that stable. Good brakes. It performs very well, but I don't think this is all that suitable for in terms of comfort. Like if you had just one child and you were already late for school, this would be the best of them all probably. But that's not quite what it is about in this challenge. So very good handling. Well done on that, but it's not quite suitable for the task here. I think so far the best we've seen was, I think, the Lebelge when it comes to the everyday school bus sort of things, but the score is way too low to get it past Durant, which is also solid. Next up, the Timberman, and I actually have very high expectations for this. This says you will make Karen be able to take kids faster than ever before. Wasn't it a van? It was a van. Oh, this is a flat plane V8. And it's quick. Yeah, this is making some serious power. You have to take kids to school in the car. Actually feels solid so far. There is a little bit of understeer, but so, you know, way less than on any real school bus. So let's cook it up the hill. Let's see, go 80, 90, 100. Let's brake. Very good. Sorry about that. Let's keep it here and do the suspension test. This is looking very good so far. And soft suspension, soaks up the bump. Even bounces back up a little bit, but that was very smooth. Very good brakes too. So I think we have a new leader. Yeah, we do have a new leader here. It looks very cool too, and also, of course, you can open the diffs, and then it's gonna skid about a little bit less. Like so. Brembo package on, yeah. Is that an optional extra, by the way, or does it come with those stock? I'm just trolling. There's the TOF up. Okay, we have the manual locker as well, I think. It's not very quick. It has good initial turn in, then it starts understeering a little bit, but that's to be expected. Actually, the handling is decent. It's not amazing, but, you know, certainly good enough to safely take your kids to school without, you know, understeering into the nearest tree in every corner. Let's see. Up the hill. Yeah, not much is happening here. We saw this in automation, 160 horsepower, like 2400 kilograms. It's not even reaching 60 up here. Compared to the last car, which did 100 up that hill. We gotta accelerate a little bit past 100 kilometers an hour. Feels rather stiff, actually. Brake test. Good. We were doing more, like a higher speed there than with all the other cars. So for that, it did fairly well. So this is slow and handles decently, but it's a little too stiff in the bump test. We have the Turbol Ortak. Yeah, I really liked the Turana, so I kept it in Beam for the time being. So this was the highest scoring car in automation. It's got a 7.4 liter twin turbo V12 too, so it should be quick down here. Yeah, all that torque. It's got a lot of weight up front, but if you see it rocking here, even in these small steering inputs, you can see that it's very soft, so it should be doing fairly well when it comes to those bump tests. It also handles decently. There is a little bit of inertia when turning in, because of course, as we saw in automation, this weighs nearly 3,000 kilograms. But then again, what does a real school bus weigh? Like 10 tons? 12? It did nearly 90 kilometers an hour up that hill there, so that's very good. Long wheelbase should be good here. Yep, did get a little bit unsettled, but that was good. No real drama. Decent brakes as well. The time may not look that impressive on the braking time there, but I started before another bounce. I started hitting the brakes before another bounce, so you gotta take that into account. And with that in mind, it actually did fairly well. So this is one of the cars that feels more like a school bus replacement, but for this type of car, it actually drives well. It is controllable, it is soft, it is torquey. As we saw, this is reasonably economical in automation as well, and had the highest score. So, whew, considering how close this was to the Timberman, I think we got a really tough decision here. The Timberman does drive a little bit more sportily. This drives a little bit more like an actual, you know, compact school, or how do you call this sort of the smaller like delivery vans that they take that they sometimes use to take small groups of people or children to different places? How do you call those? This feels like one of those, but a good one at that. When it comes to the handling anyway, and obviously the power is much higher than any of those vehicles would be. Like you would see like a Volkswagen Charan or a Kia Carens or something like that. No, not really a Kia Carens. Or I guess more like a what's that? Man, there are way too many cars and car names. I can't remember the thing, but do you know what I mean? There's like smaller, smaller city buses, right? That can carry like 10 or 12 or maybe 20 people, as opposed to something like this that can carry 80. We also still have the WMP EXP. I think we're facing the right. Mercedes Sprinter. Yeah, something like that. How do you call these? Like mini? It's not really a minivan. It's not that mini. Already, this car rolls quite a lot. It's a minibus. Well, fair enough. This car actually can take a fairly tight line down these corners. It feels rather sporty. It's adequately quick, I'd say. It has one of the lower scores in automation though, so it would need to be fantastic here to have a chance overall. And so far it's certainly looking good. Handles nicely. But we'll have to see how the suspension and the braking is gonna look. $65, $70, certainly one of the certainly pretty average there in terms of uphill acceleration. Soft, definitely soaks up the bumps pretty well. Good brakes. Very good brakes, actually. You know what? This is very good, but it's very good to drive here, but it's not good enough here in order to compensate for the points difference in automation compared to the Turbo or the Timberman, which were the two highest scoring cars in automation and also did very well here. So, okay, now what do we say overall? Couple of things. Worth noting. So the top two cars are certainly the the Turbo and the Timberman. Those are going to be the two between which I'm going to have to decide which one is best. So in BeamNG, the Timberman drove better in the sense that it drives a little bit more like a normal car. You don't feel the weight as much. Probably because it's also quite a bit lighter than the Turbo, which weighs nearly 3,000 kilograms. However, the Turbo still did very well. It had the highest automation score. So it definitely wins in that regard. It wins the automation score, kind of, part of this challenge. The Timberman, I'd say, wins the BeamNG part. It drove a little bit better than the Turbo, which was also very good for this type of challenge. Most bus-like services, I mean, literally, probably the Lebelch, because look at it. But as far as the Lebelch is just too far off in overall score. It's only 374 compared to 451 and 454. So this still feels very much like a school bus would, and overall, I'd say this is the winner. It is like first in automation score. I'd say probably second or third in the way the cars drive in BeamNG, and debatably first or second when it comes to the most realistic for a school bus. First or second, I guess. I mean, okay, let's give the Lebelch first place in that category, but this is the most rounded overall. Replacement for a school bus in 2005. So congratulations to Donutsnail. And with this being said, I know it's been a rather short stream, but then again, one thing I could do some, Pikes Peak or whatever in some cars that I made, but we can also do that in another time. I will make another community challenge video this weekend, and I'm debating between two ideas of what I want to do. However, you will definitely be getting that video this weekend, and I hope you're gonna have fun building your cars for that challenge as well. Until then, thank you guys for watching. Thank you to everyone who participated. Congratulations to Donutsnail for making this awesome school bus, and I hope to see you guys next time. Until then, have a good one. Bye bye.